The message came through at noon sharp, and I knew right then that my marriage was over. Still at the gym, we'll be home soon. I stared at the screen of my phone, sitting in my home office where I'd been supposedly working on financial reports for the past hour. But I hadn't been working. I'd been watching the tracker app on my laptop, the one I'd installed on Melissa's phone 2 weeks ago when the lies had become too obvious to ignore. My wife wasn't at the gym. She was at 2247 Riverside Drive, apartment 12B, John Castellano's apartment, her personal trainer, the man she'd been sleeping with for God knows how long. My fingers moved across the keyboard before my brain could stop them. Private lessons with John keeping you busy? I hit send and watched the screen. The dot on the tracker app, representing Melissa's location, suddenly started moving. Fast. She was leaving John's apartment, heading home. It took her exactly 7 minutes to burst through our front door, breathless and wild-eyed. "Jake, we need to talk." Her voice was shrill with panic. I stood up slowly from my desk and walked out to the living room. She was still in her gym clothes, black leggings, sports bra, tank top, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked beautiful, which made everything worse. "Sure," I said calmly. "Let's talk." "That text, what you said, it's not what you think." "What do I think, Melissa?" "You think I'm cheating, but I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not." I pulled out my phone and opened the tracker app, turned it toward her so she could see the map, the dot that represented her location, the address displayed at the top, 2247 Riverside Drive. "You're not at the gym," I said. "You're at John's apartment. You've been there for 2 hours." Her face went white. "You're tracking me?" "Answer the question. What were you doing at John's apartment?" He was showing me his home gym setup. I'm thinking about setting one up here and... Don't. Lie to me." My voice stayed level, but something in my tone made her step back. "I've been tracking you for 2 weeks. You've been to his apartment 11 times. Every time you claim you're at the gym, you're actually at his place. So tell me the truth, or this conversation is over and my next call is to a divorce attorney." She started crying. Big theatrical tears that once would have moved me. Now I felt nothing. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay. I've been seeing him. But it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think." "No, Jake, listen. It's just physical. It doesn't mean anything. He's just... You've been working so much, and I felt lonely, and he paid attention to me." "How long?" "What? How long have you been sleeping with him?" She hesitated. 4 months. 4 months. A third of a year. 120 days of lies. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, my voice eerily calm. "You're going to pack a bag. You're going to stay somewhere else tonight. Tomorrow we're going to sit down with attorneys and figure out the divorce." "Divorce? Jake, no! We can work through this. I'll end things with John right now. I'll go to counseling. Whatever you want." "I don't want anything from you anymore. Please, Jake, I love you. I made a terrible mistake, but I love you." "You don't love me. You love the house I bought. You love the car I pay for. You love the lifestyle I provide. But you don't love me." "That's not true. Get out. This is my house, too." "No, it's my house. My name is on the deed, bought before we got married. You moved in after the wedding, so pack your shit and get out." She stood there, tears streaming, trying to figure out which angle would work. I'd seen her manipulate people before, her parents, her friends, her coworkers. She was good at it, but I was done being manipulated. "I'm not leaving," she said finally, crossing her arms. "You can't make me." "Fine, then I'm leaving. I'll stay at a hotel tonight. But tomorrow, you're getting served with divorce papers. And when they ask about infidelity, I'll have 2 weeks of GPS data showing you at John's apartment when you claim to be at the gym. Virginia considers adultery when dividing assets. You'll walk away with nothing." That got her attention. Her arms dropped. "You wouldn't..." "Watch me." I walked past her to the bedroom and started packing. She followed, alternating between crying and arguing and threatening and begging. I ignored all of it. 20 minutes later, I had a suitcase packed and was heading for the door. "Jake, please don't do this. We've been together for 5 years. We've been together for 5 years, and you've been cheating for 4 months. That's the relationship you chose. Now deal with the consequences." I left. The hotel room was generic and soulless, which suited my mood perfectly. I sat on the bed and started making calls. First call, my best friend Mike. He answered on the second ring. "Hey, man. What's up?" "Melissa's been cheating on me. I'm filing for divorce." Silence. Then, "Jesus, are you sure?" Caught her via GPS tracker. She's been going to her trainer's apartment for months. That's brutal. I'm sorry. What do you need? A divorce attorney. A good one. My cousin went through a nasty divorce last year. His attorney was ruthless. I'll text you the info. Thanks. You doing okay? I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I will be. Second call. My attorney from work, Paul Henderson. He handled business contracts but had divorce attorney contacts. Jake, what can I do for you? I need a recommendation for a divorce lawyer. Aggressive, someone who wins. Damn. Melissa? Yeah. I've got just the person, Sandra Martinez. She's expensive but worth every penny. Handles high-asset divorces. Doesn't lose. Send me her number. Will do. And Jake? Document everything. Texts, emails, locations, dates, everything. Already doing it. Third call, my bank. I transferred half of our joint savings into a new account in my name only. Legally, I was entitled to half. I left Melissa's half where it was. Then I called the credit card companies and removed her as an authorized user on my cards. Called the insurance company and removed her from my car insurance. Called our landlord. Wait, no, I owned the house. But I called the utilities and made sure everything was in my name only. By the time I was done, it was 5 p.m. I'd systematically separated our financial lives in under 4 hours. My phone rang. Melissa. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again, 15 times in 20 minutes. Finally, I answered. What? Jake, please come home. Let's talk about this like adults. We did talk. You lied. I'm done. I spoke to John. He said this is all a misunderstanding. You're overreacting. Oh, you spoke to John, the man you've been sleeping with, and he said I'm overreacting. That's great input. Don't be sarcastic. Melissa, I'm going to say this once. We're done. Tomorrow, you'll be served with divorce papers. Cooperate, and this'll be quick and relatively painless. Fight me, and I'll make it as expensive and ugly as possible. Your choice. You're being cruel. No, I'm being practical. You destroyed the marriage. I'm just cleaning up the mess. I hung up and blocked her number. Sandra Martinez called me at 7 p.m. Mr. Parker, Paul Henderson referred you. He says you need a divorce attorney. That's correct. Tell me everything. I did. The tracking, the apartment visits, the 4-month affair, the lies. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, Virginia's a no-fault state, but adultery can affect asset distribution and spousal support. You have proof? GPS tracking data. 2 weeks of location history showing her at his apartment during times she claimed to be at the gym. Text messages where she admits the affair. Does she work? Part-time yoga instructor. Makes maybe $20,000 a year. You? Financial analyst. I make $140. Assets? House in my name, bought before marriage. Currently worth about $550. Paid off. Joint savings about $60,000. My 401k has around $300,000. Hers has maybe $20. 2 cars. Mine's paid off. Hers has a loan I've been paying. Children? No. How long married? 3 years. Together for 5. This is pretty straightforward. She'll likely get spousal support for a limited time due to income disparity, but the adultery will affect the amount. She has no claim to the house since you owned it before marriage. You'll split the joint savings 50-50. Retirement accounts stay separate. She'll keep her car but assume the loan. What's your fee? $5,000 retainer. I bill at $400 an hour. This should be resolved in 3 to 6 months if she doesn't fight. If she fights, it could take a year and cost $40,000. Let's hope she doesn't fight. They usually do. I'll draft the papers tonight. Can you come to my office tomorrow at 9 to review and sign? I'll be there. That night, I lay in the hotel bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about how I'd missed the signs, the late nights at the gym, the new lingerie I'd never seen her wear, the way she'd pull away when I tried to kiss her, claiming she was tired. I'd been working a lot. 60-hour weeks, sometimes more. But that didn't justify cheating. If she was unhappy, she should have said something, should have suggested counseling, should have done literally anything except sleep with another man. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Jake, it's John. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long moment, then typed back, No. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Melissa and I are friends. That's all. Friends who sleep together, apparently. Don't contact me again. Look, man, I didn't know she was married when we started. I don't care. You're both adults. You both made choices. Now I'm making mine. She's really broken up about this. Good. She should be. You're being pretty cold. You slept with my wife. I don't owe you warmth. I blocked the number. Sandra's office was in a glass tower downtown, 32nd floor with views of the Potomac. She was in her mid-40s, impeccably dressed, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Mr. Parker, please sit." She had the divorce petition already drafted. I read through it carefully. It was thorough and brutal, documenting the affair, requesting full ownership of the house, demanding limited spousal support due to her adultery, seeking attorney's fees. "This is good," I said. "I don't do mediocre work. Sign at the bottom of each page." I signed. She had the papers notarized by her assistant and handed them to a courier. "She'll be served this afternoon. Expect a call from her or her attorney by end of day." What should I say? Nothing. Refer everything to me. Don't engage. Don't negotiate. Don't make promises. Just say, "Talk to my attorney," and hang up. Got it. One more thing. Virginia requires a 6-month separation period before divorce can be finalized. During that time, you two need to live separately. You're in a hotel? Yes. Find an apartment. Establish residency. We need to prove separation. I'll start looking today. Melissa was served at 3 p.m. I know because she called Sandra's office at 3:15, screaming. Sandra's assistant put her on speaker so I could hear. "You can't do this. We're married. You have to give me a chance to fix this." Sandra's voice was ice. "Ms. Parker, your husband has filed for divorce, citing adultery. You have 30 days to respond. I suggest you hire an attorney." "I don't have money for an attorney." "That's not my concern. But if you don't respond within 30 days, the divorce will proceed by default and you'll lose your right to contest the terms." "He's taking everything. The house, the savings, everything." "The house is his separate property. The savings will be split 50-50. You'll receive limited spousal support. These are generous terms considering your infidelity." "I need to talk to Jake." "All communication goes through me. Do not contact my client directly." "This is insane." "Ms. Parker, you committed adultery. Mr. Parker is well within his rights to file for divorce. If you want to protect your interests, hire an attorney. This conversation is over." Sandra hung up. "She'll call you next," Sandra said to me. "Don't answer." She was right. My phone rang 5 minutes later. Melissa. I sent it to voicemail. She called 23 times over the next hour, left increasingly desperate voicemails. Then texts started coming from new numbers, her friends, her mother, her sister, all saying the same thing. I was being cruel. I wasn't giving her a chance. She'd made a mistake. We could work through this. I responded to exactly one text, from her mother. "Your daughter had a 4-month affair. She lied to me repeatedly. She's suffering the consequences of her choices. This conversation is over." Then I blocked them all. That evening, I found an apartment, 1 bedroom, furnished, month-to-month lease. I moved in that night. Over the next week, I focused on establishing my new routine. Work, gym, apartment. I avoided places Melissa and I used to go. Avoided mutual friends. Created a completely separate life. Melissa hired an attorney, some guy named Robert Barnes, who advertised on bus benches. Sandra wasn't impressed. Cheap divorce attorney, probably cost her $1,500 for the whole case. He's going to tell her to settle because fighting is expensive and she'll lose. Will she settle? Eventually. But first she'll try to negotiate for more. More money, more support, more time. Standard playbook. Barnes sent a counter-proposal a week later. Melissa wanted half the value of the house, despite not being on the deed, half my 401k, $50,000 in lump sum alimony, and the car loan paid off. Sandra laughed when she read it. He's an idiot. She's not getting any of this. We sent a 1-sentence response. Your client committed adultery. Our terms stand. Barnes called Sandra directly. She put him on speaker. Ms. Martinez, let's be reasonable. Your client is being vindictive. My client is enforcing the natural consequences of his wife's infidelity. She cheated. Virginia law allows consideration of fault in asset distribution. She's lucky to get spousal support at all. She gave up her career to support his. She works part-time as a yoga instructor. That's not a career she gave up. That's a hobby she maintains. The house appreciated during the marriage. Irrelevant. It's his separate property. Appreciation doesn't convert it to marital property in Virginia. My client is essentially homeless. Your client can rent an apartment like millions of other adults. She'll receive 18 months of spousal support at $1,500 per month. That's more than generous. That's not enough to live on. Then she should get a full-time job. This conversation is over. You have 48 hours to advise your client to accept the terms, or we proceed to litigation. And if we litigate, we're seeking attorney's fees from her for wasting everyone's time. Sandra hung up. Will he advise her to settle? I asked. If he's smart. Litigation will cost her $10,000 minimum. She doesn't have $10,000. 2 days later, Barnes called back. My client accepts the terms. Just like that. 3 weeks after I'd caught her, the divorce was essentially done. We just had to wait out the 6-month separation period. The next 5 months were strange. I went to work, came home to my apartment, lived my life. Melissa tried to contact me 17 times, through friends, through her mother, through new phone numbers I hadn't blocked yet. I ignored every attempt. Mike checked in weekly. How you holding up? Fine. You don't sound fine. I'm processing. Want to grab a beer? Maybe next week. But next week never came. I wasn't ready to be social, wasn't ready to explain what had happened, wasn't ready to see pity in people's eyes. I buried myself in work, took on extra projects, got promoted to senior analyst, $20,000 raise, corner office. I should have been thrilled. I felt nothing. 3 months into the separation, Mike showed up at my apartment unannounced. Okay, this is an intervention, he said, pushing past me into the living room. You look like hell. When's the last time you ate a real meal? Or left this apartment for something other than work? I'm fine. You're not fine. You're existing. There's a difference. What do you want me to do? I want you to live, join a gym, try dating, see a therapist, something. I'm not ready to date. Fine. Then at least take care of yourself. You're withering away. He was right. I'd lost weight, stopped cooking, lived on takeout and protein bars. My apartment was messy. I was a mess. Okay, I said, I'll try. I started small, joined a gym, not Melissa's gym, obviously. Started cooking again, cleaned my apartment, accepted Mike's invitation to grab beers. Slowly, incrementally, I started feeling human again. 4 months in, I ran into John at a coffee shop. He saw me first. Jake, hey, can we talk? No. Look, man, I feel terrible about what happened. You should. Melissa told me you guys were separated, that the marriage was over. I didn't know she was lying until it was too late. You're dating her. Was. We broke up. Shocking. She's not who I thought she was. She lied about a lot of things. Welcome to my world. I'm sorry. Genuinely sorry. I wouldn't have gotten involved if I'd known the truth. Okay. Okay. I believe you. Melissa's a good liar. You're not the first person she's deceived, and you won't be the last. She's struggling, lost her job, couldn't make rent, moved back in with her parents. That's unfortunate. You don't care at all? Why would I? She made her choices. These are the consequences. That's cold. That's reality. She destroyed our marriage for a guy who didn't even stick around when things got hard. She gambled and lost. I'm not going to feel sorry for her. I walked away. Month 5, Sandra called. Melissa's attorney is requesting a modification to the support terms. She's asking for more money. On what grounds? She claims she can't find full-time work, needs more support until she gets on her feet. No. That's what I told them. The agreement is signed. Unless she can show material change in circumstances. She got fired from her part-time yoga gig. That's not my problem. Agreed. I'll send a formal denial. Week later, Melissa's mother called me from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. Jake, please. Melissa is sleeping on our couch. She's depressed. She's broke. She needs help. She should get a job. She's trying, but no one will hire her. Again, not my problem. You're really going to abandon her like this? She abandoned our marriage when she cheated. I'm just protecting myself. She made a mistake. A 4-month mistake. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Multiple choices, actually. You're heartless. I'm practical. Goodbye, Mrs. Hayes. I hung up and blocked that number too. The 6-month separation period ended in late October. The final hearing was scheduled for November 3rd. Sandra prepared me the day before. This should be straightforward. Judge reviews the agreement, confirms both parties' consent, issues the decree. You'll be divorced by noon. What if she tries to change the terms? She can't. The agreement is signed and filed. Unless she can prove fraud or duress, it stands. She'll try something. Let her try. It won't work. The hearing was at 10 a.m. I arrived 15 minutes early, wearing a suit. Sandra met me in the hallway. Ready? Ready. We walked into the courtroom. Melissa was already there with Barnes. She looked terrible. Thinner, pale, dark circles under her eyes. She wouldn't look at me. Judge Patricia Morrison presided. She was in her 60s, Gray hair, reading glasses, the expression of someone who'd seen every version of human drama. Case number 2847, Parker versus Parker, divorce petition. Counsel, are both parties present? Yes, Your Honor, Sandra said. Yes, Your Honor, Barnes echoed. I've reviewed the settlement agreement. Parties agree to divorce based on 6-month separation. Assets divided as specified. Spousal support of $1,500 per month for 18 months. Miss Parker, do you consent to these terms? Melissa stood. Your Honor, I'd like to request... Miss Parker, the question is simple. Do you consent to the terms in the filed agreement? I do, but I'm asking the court to modify... The time for modifications was before you signed the agreement. Do you consent, yes or no? Melissa looked at Barnes. He whispered something to her. She nodded miserably. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Parker, do you consent? I stood. Yes, Your Honor. Very well. The marriage is dissolved. The terms of the settlement agreement are incorporated into the final decree. Ms. Parker, you'll receive monthly support payments starting December 1st. Mr. Parker, you're responsible for those payments until May 1st of next year. After that, all obligations cease. Anything else? No, Your Honor, Sandra said. No, Your Honor, Barnes said. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Just like that, it was over. 3 years of marriage, dissolved in under 5 minutes. Melissa tried to approach me as we left the courtroom. Sandra stepped between us. All communication goes through your attorney, Ms. Parker. I just want to say, no. We left. In the parking lot, Sandra turned to me. Congratulations. You're officially divorced. Thanks for everything. You made it easy. Clean case, good documentation, client who followed instructions. Wish all my cases were like this. What do I owe you? Final bill will be about $12,000. I'll send the invoice this week. Worth every penny. I drove back to my apartment, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. I was divorced, single, free. I should have felt something. Relief, sadness, anger, anything. But I felt nothing at all. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, something interesting happened. I was at work when Mike called. Dude, you need to see this. See what? Check Melissa's Instagram. I'd deleted all social media months ago, but curiosity got the better of me. I logged into my old Instagram account from my work computer. Melissa's profile was public. Her most recent post was from this morning, a photo of her hand wearing a massive diamond ring. The caption read, "He put a ring on it. So excited to start this new chapter with the love of my life. You're so engaged, now happily ever after. Yash, second chances." The comments were full of congratulations, her friends gushing about how happy she looked, how she deserved this, how true love always wins. I zoomed in on the photo. The ring looked expensive. The hand holding hers looked masculine, older. I scrolled through the tagged photos. His name was Richard Pemberton, 53 years old, CEO of a regional bank, divorced, 2 grown kids, pictures of him on a yacht, in front of a mansion, driving a Porsche. Melissa had upgraded. I showed Mike when he came by after work. She got engaged, 3 weeks after our divorce was final. Jesus, how long you think she's been seeing this guy? Good question. Mike squinted at the photos. Wait, zoom in on that one, the one at the restaurant. I zoomed in. It was a photo of Melissa and Richard at some upscale restaurant. The timestamp was from July, 4 months ago, 2 months before our divorce was final. She was dating him while you were still married, Mike said. While we were separated, technically. Still married, though. She really doesn't learn. I clicked through more photos. There were dozens of them dating back to June. Melissa and Richard at charity galas, on his yacht, at his beach house. She'd been living a double life for months. You okay? Mike asked. I'm fine. You sure? Because you just found out your ex-wife was basically cheating on you again. We were separated. She could date whoever she wanted. Yeah, but still, this Richard guy is loaded. She traded up. Good for her. You really don't care? I really don't. But that wasn't entirely true. I did care. Not because I wanted Melissa back, but because she'd moved on so fast, so completely, while I was still living in a half-empty apartment eating takeout and avoiding social situations. She'd won, cheated, lied, destroyed our marriage, and still ended up with a rich CEO. Meanwhile, I was divorced and alone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Melissa's face in those Instagram photos. She looked happy, genuinely happy, glowing. She'd destroyed our marriage and faced no real consequences. Got a new life, a better life, without any accountability. It wasn't fair. Around 2 a.m., I had an idea. A terrible, vindictive, completely unjustifiable idea. but also a perfect idea. I opened my laptop and started researching Richard Pemberton. He was exactly what he appeared to be: wealthy, successful, recently divorced. He ran Peninsula Community Bank, a regional bank with 20 branches across Virginia. His divorce had been finalized 8 months ago. His ex-wife had gotten the house and half his assets. Public records showed he'd paid her $4 million in the settlement. $4 million. Melissa had hit the jackpot. I kept digging, found Richard's email address through his company website, found articles about him in local business journals, found his LinkedIn profile. Then I started writing an email. Mr. Pemberton, you don't know me, but I believe you should know something about your fiancée before you marry her. My name is Jake Parker. I was married to Melissa Hayes until 3 weeks ago. Our marriage ended when I discovered she was having an affair with her personal trainer, an affair that lasted 4 months while we were planning our future together. I'm not writing this out of spite or jealousy. I'm writing this because you deserve to know who you're marrying. During our marriage, Melissa maintained a pattern of deception. She lied about her whereabouts. She created elaborate cover stories for her absences. She was skilled at manipulation and deflection. When confronted with evidence of her affair, she initially denied everything, then minimized it, then blamed me for working too much. According to your social media posts, you've been dating Melissa since June. Our divorce wasn't finalized until November. That means she began a relationship with you while we were still married. Technically separated, but still married. I'm attaching copies of our divorce decree, which details the adultery that ended our marriage. I'm also attaching records showing Melissa's pattern of deception. I'm sharing this information because I would have wanted someone to warn me before I made the biggest mistake of my life. What you do with this information is your choice. Respectfully, Jake Parker. I attached the divorce decree, the GPS tracking data from John's apartment, and several screenshots from Instagram showing Melissa with Richard while we were still married. Then I stared at the draft email for 10 minutes. This was vindictive, petty, potentially relationship ending for Melissa. Everything Sandra had told me not to do. But Melissa had faced no consequences. She'd lied, cheated, destroyed our marriage, and landed on her feet with a millionaire, while I was stuck paying her $1,500 a month in spousal support. I hit send before I could change my mind. The email delivered at 2:47 a.m. I closed my laptop and went to bed. I slept better than I had in months. Nothing happened for 2 days. I started to think Richard had ignored the email, or that his spam filter had caught it, or that he'd read it and didn't care. Then, on day 3, my phone rang. Unknown number with a Virginia area code. Hello? Is this Jake Parker? A man's voice. Deep, authoritative. Yes. Who's this? Richard Pemberton. I got your email. My heart started pounding. Okay. Is everything in that email true? Yes. I have additional documentation if you need it. The GPS tracking, the affair, the pattern of lying. All true. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. How long have you known about our relationship? I saw the Instagram posts yesterday, checked the timestamps, realized she was seeing you while we were still married. She told me you were divorced, that the marriage had been over for a year before you filed. That's a lie. I caught her cheating in May, filed for divorce immediately. We were separated for 6 months while the divorce was finalized. During that time, she started seeing you. Silence on the line. Then, why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know who you're marrying. Because I didn't know, and I wish someone had warned me. Or because you want revenge on your ex-wife. Maybe both, but it doesn't make the information less true. More silence. Then, I need to think about this. Thank you for reaching out. He hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, wondering what I just set in motion. 2 hours later, Mike called. Bro, you need to check Instagram again. I logged in. Melissa's engagement post was gone, deleted. So were all the photos of her and Richard together. Holy shit, I said. What did you do? I sent her fiancé the divorce decree. You what? I told him about the affair, about the lying, about everything. Jake, wow. That's nuclear. She had it coming. Yeah, but still, this is going to get ugly. He was right. By that evening, Melissa was calling me. I'd blocked her number, but she left voicemails using other phones. Jake, what did you do? Richard called off the engagement. He won't talk to me? What did you tell him? Jake, please call me back. This is serious. He's threatening to sue me for fraud. Jake, this is not okay. You had no right to interfere in my relationship. Call me back now. I deleted the voicemails without listening to them fully. Her mother called too. So did her sister. So did Barnes, her attorney. I blocked them all. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Richard. Thank you for the information. I've ended my relationship with Melissa. You saved me from making a terrible mistake. She's been lying about multiple things, not just your marriage. I'm grateful you reached out." I texted back, "I'm sorry you had to go through this. But better now than after the wedding." Agreed. For what it's worth, she's telling people you're harassing her and fabricated evidence. I know that's not true, but be prepared for blowback. Noted. Thanks for the warning. The blowback came fast. Melissa posted a long message on Facebook claiming I was stalking her, harassing her fiancé, spreading lies to destroy her new relationship. She painted herself as the victim of an abusive ex-husband who couldn't let go. Her friends rallied around her, posted supportive comments, shared her message, called me a psycho and a stalker and worse. I didn't respond, didn't defend myself, just let her tell her story, because I had something better than a rebuttal. I had the truth, documented and undeniable. When someone reached out to ask my side, I sent them the divorce decree, the section citing adultery, the GPS tracking data. The timeline showing her relationship with Richard overlapped with our marriage. The narrative shifted fast. People who'd called me a stalker suddenly went silent. Some apologized. Others just deleted their comments and pretended they'd never said anything. Melissa's post was taken down after 48 hours, probably because someone threatened to sue her for defamation. A week after Richard called off the engagement, Melissa tried one more time to contact me. She showed up at my apartment at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. I saw her through the peephole, debated not answering, but curiosity won. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "What do you want, Melissa?" "I want you to leave me alone." "I have left you alone. You came to my apartment. You contacted Richard. You ruined my engagement." "I informed Richard of facts he deserved to know before marrying you. That's not ruining anything. That's telling the truth. You're vindictive and cruel, and I hope you're happy with what you've done." "I am, actually. You destroyed our marriage. You lied for months. You faced no consequences. Now you have. We're even." "We'll never be even. You destroyed my life." "No, Melissa. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure other people knew the truth about who you are." She stared at me, tears streaming down her face. I loved Richard. He was going to give me everything I ever wanted. "Then you shouldn't have lied to him. Turns out rich, successful men don't like being deceived either." "I hate you." "That's fine. But leave me alone. If you come back here, I'm calling the police." I closed the door. She stood outside for 5 minutes, crying and occasionally pounding on the door. Then she left. That was the last time I saw Melissa Hayes. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment. I'd upgraded to a 2-bedroom with a home office when Mike called. You'll never guess what I heard through the grapevine. "What?" "Melissa's engaged again, some insurance salesman named Kevin. They've been dating for 3 months." "Good for her. You're not going to, warn him?" "No, once was enough. I made my point." "So you're really over it?" "Over her?" "Completely over it. She's someone else's problem now." "And you? You seeing anyone?" "Actually, yeah. Her name's Jennifer. She's an accountant. Very stable, very honest, very not Melissa." "That's great, man. I'm happy for you." "Thanks." We hung up. I looked around my apartment. New furniture, new life, new relationship with someone who didn't lie or cheat or manipulate. Melissa had cheated on me, destroyed our marriage, and tried to walk away without consequences. But in the end, she'd lost everything. Her marriage, her engagement, her reputation. I'd lost a wife I thought I loved, but I'd gained something better. The knowledge that I wouldn't tolerate being disrespected, that I valued myself enough to walk away from someone who didn't value me. That text message, "Private lessons with John, keeping you busy," had changed everything. It had been sarcastic, thrown out in frustration without thinking. But it had also been the moment I stopped being a victim and started taking control of my life. And that moment, painful as it was, had led me here. To a better life, a better relationship, a better version of myself. Melissa would probably marry Kevin the insurance salesman. And maybe he'd be lucky and she'd actually be faithful this time. Or maybe she'd cheat again and he'd end up where I'd been. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. I'd gotten my revenge, not through anger or violence or cruelty, but through something much simpler, telling the truth. And the truth, as it turned out, was the most devastating weapon of all.